right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Arne. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Parcel Perform. Thanks for joining my conversation about AI commerce. And I believe AI commerce is on fire. If you've seen the last presentation, I think we talk about AI commerce, but I think we have a little bit more of a bullish view on where this is taking us. Quick recap from our side. Okay. What is AI commerce? I think you probably all experience this. If you ask ChatGPT, for example, kind of find me some product, it will basically do its work. It researches, it basically compares products, it really gives you recommendations, and in the end, you have the ability to follow that recommendations, and purchase processes are influenced by AI. This is already working at the moment, and I'm sure every one of you has done it already. But what we find quite interesting is, as much as it's happening already and the people use it, a lot of the merchants in the e-commerce industry haven't fully embraced where this trajectory is taking us. So if we are looking back at last year, I was on this stage and was saying, hey, AI commerce is going to influence about 8.6% of e-commerce traffic. So 1 year later, if we look at the real number, it wasn't 8.6%. It ended up being 16%, which is 80% more than our forecast. And even at that time, we were already saying, hey, this is going to be big. So if we look at this, kind of what we're seeing in the industry is, in our world in 2026, everyone knows AI commerce is coming, but we are still pretending it's not going to happen. Yeah, if you see this, there's a big tsunami coming at us, but we're still pretending this is not yet part of our reality. And if we talk to merchants, knowing that this is the biggest shift in a generation that we're likely going to face as an industry, who do most companies make responsible for this dramatic change? And what we get as an answer, the SEO guy. Because that's AI commerce, it's a new traffic channel, and that's all we do. We make this guy responsible to sort it out for us. But what we are seeing, this is, however, a much, much bigger kind of wave, and it needs to affect everything in a merchant and the e-commerce industry has to do. So 2026 is going to be one of the key years on when we can achieve that. But to understand how big this is, we also want to put in two different perspectives on how this is affecting the industry. First, the consumer perspective. And you probably have seen this. Consumer AI agents are getting better, smarter, more powerful every month. You can't have 2 weeks without a new announcement from OpenAI, Anthropic, you name them, with new models coming out. The model's getting smarter and smarter. They have bigger context windows. They're getting faster. They do a lot more research. If you ask them to do some work for you, they do a lot more work than in the past. This is like almost doubling in months rather than in years. And we have a lot more tooling around it, co-work, as you might see. They can use browsers. There's a lot more happening in those models at any stage. So if you look at those companies, in the past, you might have gotten some interesting small little summaries, but now I think the models in a very short time frame develop to be very, very powerful researchers. So this happens on the model side, but what happens on the merchant side? And there's some movement already where merchants are thinking about, hey, how can we make sure that AI models can access our data? So that's happening. At the same time, there's no standards out there. Universal Commerce Protocol and the Agentic Commerce Protocol from OpenAI. Those standards are available. It really specifies how merchants need to prepare themselves to be used by AI agents. And the adoption has started. The third thing is everyone is looking at, hey, if an AI agent's coming our way, how can we optimize the experience? But there's a lot of work right now already being put in by the merchants to make the entire AI experience much more easy in the future. If we bring those two perspectives together, the consumer's perspective, where the models get better, smarter, and more comprehensive, and the merchant preparing themselves, we're moving towards a world of AI hyper competition. So what's happening? The models will do more and more research, but at the same time, the merchants have a lot more data available in a very, very easy manner. So with all this kind of coming together, the recommendations are going to be spot on, a lot more credible than they were in the past, which in the past were just a summary of different listicles. So if we take that kind of together, there's going to be a lot more competition coming our way for every single order of consumers. And this competition is not limited to your specific markets. This competition is global. So because AI merchants don't really understand, hey, we are in the Netherlands and we only compare providers in the Netherlands. When they go out, they compare every possible option that's out there to make sure that they get the best answer for their consumers. With all that together, however, kind of what was important in the past, kind of brand loyalty, ads in order to gain business, that stuff is no longer working to really have an impact. What matters is, okay, what are the actual features? What are the kind of prices? What is the delivery dates? And really, can I trust this provider? This is what will fuel this hyper competition coming our way. So with that, I think we see a change in the world for e-commerce. In the past, we had humans being loyal to brand. I think I can imagine us standing on the stage 5 years ago saying, hey, this is all about loyalty. You have returning customers. This is how you make money. You keep customers around for a long time. That works for human, but it doesn't work for AI. AI is going to look at the data, at the facts to take a decision whether they're going to buy from you or not. With this new world, I think we're looking at different winning strategies than in the past. So if you have the AI agents searching for products, there's only 3 things that matter for you to win the purchase. 1, you have to have the best products, the best features. It needs to be the coolest product they can possibly buy. It needs to be the lowest price, because that's obviously one of the key criteria, and it needs to get to you quickly. So if you're not excelling in at least one of those dimensions compared to your competition, you probably have a problem. In the old world, if you have an okay value proposition, you may not get 100% of the traffic, but you get 20% and you have a business. In this new AI comparison world, if you don't excel around those dimensions, you're not getting 20% of the business, you get 0. And I think that's where we foresee that in this world, with this hyper competition, I think a lot of the margins that we enjoy as an industry will be under siege. The second thing that happens is the AI agents will look at the data. They will do their research. And a lot of consumers say, hey, we care about reviews. What happens with the AI agents, they're going to surface all those reviews that are out there. So in the past, if you screw up one delivery or like one order, you lose exactly one customer, the customer that was essentially receiving this product. In the new world, you're not just losing one customer, you lose thousands of them, because that review is going to surface in so many different places, and the AI agents take that for making a recommendation. So it's even more important for anyone to curate the reputation, the delivery experience from the checkout, during the shipping, post-purchase, returns, because if you're not winning in this, you will probably not succeed in and around hyper competition. So looking at this, what does it mean for logistics in particular, since we are a Deliver conference and we're looking at logistics? I think there are 4 areas that everyone needs to look at. The competition is now global. So that means anyone from anywhere can be your competitors. Maybe you have 2 competitors here in the Netherlands as an example, but there are probably 50 other competitors globally. In the world where it only matters whether human traffic comes to your page, those competition might not be relevant. In this AI world, they are relevant. So if your competition is global, first of all, you need to get ready for that. Secondly, why don't you compete globally? The only thing that holds you back from doing so is having carriers to work with in order to fulfill and deliver your products on a global matter. The second thing is, in the past, we only offered very, very few delivery options. Because if you have 3 different delivery options, we usually call it a kind of a conversion killer, because you basically force a complicated decision on your consumer right kind of a few seconds before they click the buy button. In the new world, AI looks at this, and the AI optimizes for the consumer. And if you give them 10 options, the AI can take the decision very easily, what is the best option for my consumer that I'm serving. So the more options you offer, the more likely it's going to get the purchase. The third one is every purchase and every framework that we're looking at for AI will have expected delivery dates. So every AI will look at it. They will take it into consideration. They will really make it part of their decision making entirely for the agents. So if you don't have this entirely competitive, so don't say, oh, this is like 3 to 7 days. The AI will give you a massive penalty for that. The human may not have given you the penalty, but the AI will. So I think that needs to be one of the key areas to get that EDD right. And they will have very little tolerance for bad performance. Because as we're getting to a world kind of where the delivery experience is getting better and better, kind of screwing it up will give you a much more bigger penalty than you had in the past. In the past, this was like a marketing playground to just make sure that consumers get a good experience. In the future, this is the operational scorecard that you need to manage, because that's a reputation that you have to maintain in order to ensure that the AI agents pick up your product. So with all of this, kind of what are the 4 important things logistics managers need to look into in 2026 from our perspective? The first thing is you need to find more partners. If you want to be relevant, you want to offer more delivery options, if you want to be available in more and more markets, you need to work with a lot more carriers. And that's the kind of makes you just a lot more relevant in the market. So I think that's where kind of we see and we encourage our customers, hey, open up more communication with carriers in order to make sure that you're ready for this world. The second thing is you need to do an EDD first cost optimization. So if you offer an expected delivery date to customers, I think that's what essentially matters. So if you tell them, hey, it getting delivered by Tuesday costs that much, on Wednesday costs that much, Thursday costs that much. So you need to really curate that for the consumer in order to make sure that they take a good decision, because that's going to be the criteria for them to check out. So really having a focus on it and talking about delivery options with the EDD in mind is one of the key priorities. The third one is delivery experience. We talked about the scorecard. You need to manage your scorecard. If you screw up, if you have bad reviews in your cycle, they will show up in every AI summary. So you need to avoid that from happening. And last but not least, it's going to be a lot more competitive out there. You have global competition, so you better get ready to make sure that you don't spend too much on your logistics, because that will be under scrutiny, because ultimately that's the margin you need to work with in the future. So there's a lot of things to do kind of when it comes to AI commerce for the logistics side of things. So AI commerce is not just a playground for the SEO guy. It's as much kind of a big challenge for logistics managers that we have in the room here. So what is going to happen for most merchants? And we're working with a lot of merchants. And over the past 10 years, kind of what happened is every time you had a problem, you found a solution, kind of a software solution that solved it. So if you look at most of the merchants, they have literally a zoo of different applications in that tech stack. You have an application for EDD, for your routing, for your label generation, for your customer service, for your post-purchase experience, returns management. There's so many, and probably if you have multiple warehouses, you also have like multiple different service providers. This is not getting you ready for this world where you need to compete globally and need to be really kind of ready for AI commerce. So that's where we as Parcel Perform really focused on bringing all of this together into a future-proof AI commerce operating system. So with that, I think we're looking at Parcel Perform as a solution that operates in this space end-to-end. So the first thing is AI commerce visibility, where we understand what's happening in the market. Secondly, then it gets to the checkout, post-purchase logistics, and decision intelligence. And this is where we see all these elements coming together. It's no longer like 5 different things you can do independently and solve and optimize. This is all an end-to-end value proposition that you have within AI commerce. Let's look at the AI commerce visibility. For you to understand and you can manage what the AI sees, you need to understand it. You need to understand what ChatGPT says about your brand, what products they recommend, who you're competing with for every purchase in the respective geographies. So this is super crucial because you can't manage what you don't understand. And for us as Parcel Perform, we have seen this as one of the key criteria to first start understanding what's out in the market and how you're positioned as a business in order to succeed in AI commerce. So AI commerce visibility first. Then if you look at the checkout, the consumer gets to the checkout. This is one of the key criteria. If you look at UCP framework, for example, the checkout framework from Google, the checkout is the core element. This is where the consumer basically initiates different checkout cards. This is where they start comparing the offers, the delivery options, and probably this is the place when they do this for 5 different merchants in parallel, and then take a decision which one to buy. So you need to be absolutely powerful on being precise on expected delivery date. Because if you're the merchant that has something like a super fuzzy kind of a 3-day range, probably you're not going to get the purchase. You have to have delivery options because the consumer might have preferences there. They want to pick up in store, they want to pick up in a locker in a location. If you don't offer it, but your competition does, you're probably going to lose out. And I think having all this accessible for those frameworks, UCP, ACP, you name it, is super crucial because that's where the decision happens. We get from a lot of our customers say, oh yeah, we don't see this traffic yet. But those frameworks are out there. If we would be in the US, for example, this would be much bigger topics because they haven't switched it on for Europe and most markets yet. But this is a matter of probably weeks and months and not years. So this is going to come to us and will be one of the key decision-making factors. So from our side, this is one of the areas where we focus a lot to make sure that you as the merchants are well prepared to leverage the opportunity AI brings. So once you then go to post-purchase and returns, the orders placed, you don't need just have an experience for humans with tracking pages, with tracking notifications, kind of a returns portal, etc. You also need to get ready for an AI experience. So the new frameworks like UCP have built in the capabilities to have delivery notifications sent to the consumer via the AI agents. The framework will include a returns management capability going forward. So this is going to be in a kind of a human as well as AI experience that you need to look into and make part of your offering. So from our side, this is one of the key criteria where you need to kind of build something on top of what you probably have at the moment and make sure it's optimized end-to-end. The third thing is get your logistics engine ready. And this obviously in the context of delivery, this is super important. You need to be able to onboard, create labels for many carriers. So this is what we embrace as Parcel Perform now. You want to be able to ship globally. So we're working with more than 1,100 carriers and making sure that connectivity with those carriers is not holding you back. But connectivity is not everything. It's also about smart routing and rate shopping. You have different commercials around it. You want to optimize. You want to understand which carriers do the job. Which carriers offer you like Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday delivery, and at what cost? What can you offer to the end consumer to maximize your margin? So in the past, there was something where you take a carrier decision like once a year or every 2 years you do an RFP and then you basically go with it. If you get to a world of hyper competition, I don't think you're going to get away with it anymore. You have to have more carriers. You have to do a lot more optimization. You need to be sure that your offering is competitive versus anyone else who's trying to sell to the same customer. And then obviously one of the components is when we talk about cost optimization, it's about rate cards, invoicing, invoice audit, claims management. This is a cost driver that affects your bottom line. The more focus is on cost, and I'm sure this is a conversation for most of you, the more you need to have a good process. And I think what we're seeing, a lot of companies have this as kind of separate solutions, etc. You do the tracking, you do the label generation, you do the claims management, the audits in 5 different places. How do you ever get this all together? Because if you want to kind of take an intelligent decision on what you want to offer to the customer at checkout, if you don't know how much you can get back and how much it actually costs you, it's very, very difficult. So we believe all this needs to be in one single system as a value proposition for you to be really on top of things when you optimize for AI commerce. Last but not least, from our side, what we're seeing with multiple merchants, and everyone has like dashboards. Everyone has a data warehouse. It has a lot of like charts and reports that you generate at any stage. You're getting to a stage where kind of there's more data than you as a human can process at any point of time. And what's happening if you have 50 dashboards, you're not going to look at it daily. You're going to look at it once a month if you're lucky, and you take decisions way too slow. So that's why we as Parcel Perform focus on what we call decision intelligence. You need to stay on top of your operations, but you don't have to look at the reports. The AI can do that. And AI should tell you which reports require your attention. You need to optimize for that. And what we're building is an engine that really tells you, hey, these are the things you need to pay attention to. When you get into the office in the morning at 8 a.m., you get an email, hey, these are 3 topics you should spend time on. We looked at hundreds and hundreds of reports, and these are the 3 that really matter for you today. So that's from our side. This is kind of an application that will basically survive the age of AI, being able to focus on the key decisions, not the kind of the groundwork of daily kind of comparing invoices, comparing costs. I think this is something what we believe a solution should do for our merchants. So if you look at this, we are 1,000% convinced AI commerce is on fire. You might not see it yet, but this will come this year and will hit every merchant probably in this room very hard. It might only be an SEO topic for you now, but I'm sure by the end of the year it won't be. So I think that's where we recommend and we will stand ready to really work with our customers, our merchants, kind of in building an AI commerce operating system that gets you ready for the future. So we invite you to partner with us. We are at the conference booth D50, so feel free to come to us. We are also kind of competing for the customer experience award, game changer award. We recommend it to deliver, to rename it. It's not just the customer experience, it's also the AI experience. Maybe it's a separate award next year, but this is the stuff that matters. The world has moved on, so need everyone in this room. This is a new, very different competition coming up around AI commerce. It will change the industry fundamentally, and it's changing much faster than we thought it would be in the beginning. And when we talked about it last year, I think it was like merely a kind of a theoretical concept, but we're seeing it happen right now, and we're very excited to be part of it. So from our side, we're excited to talk about kind of what an AI operating system looks like. We are happy to do a live demo at our booth. And thanks for joining me for this presentation. And hope you guys are ready for AI commerce. It's going to be a fun ride for the rest of 2026. Thanks a lot.